Hello, welcome back. I'm Jonathan Farley and this is my essential guide for the modern man. In today's video, I'm going to detail my 8 biggest mistakes that you're probably still making and how to fix them. So if that's the sort of thing that you like, then please hit subscribe and join along for the journey. So without further ado, the first mistake is the sloppy sleeve roll. So it's a nice warm day and you want to roll your sleeves up. Easiest way to do it is just to roll them up. Just to shove them up the arm, and that looks horrible. We've all done it and it looks ridiculous. Now, second one is the Italian roll, which is where you roll the sleeve, double the amount it needs to be, and then take the lower part and tuck it up like that. I don't like this one particularly. It makes the sleeve very tight on the forearm. My preference is for this one. Now, I'm going to show you. Roll the cuff, unfasten the cuff completely. Roll the cuff back once, like that. Back a second time, like that. And then the third time is a half. So it's like that. And that should sit on the forearm. I'm going to do it on this side just to demonstrate. Again, fold it back once, fold it back twice, fully, and then the third time is a half. And what that does is it makes sure that the sleeve breaks on the forearm. When the sleeve is rolled up like this, it looks like you want to start a fight. I think it's a little bit aggressive to have your sleeves rolled above the elbow. If you have your sleeves rolled up below the elbow, it's nice, it's neat, and it works. So that's how to avoid the sloppy sleeve roll. The second mistake is what I would call the soulless wrist. Now today, we all have smartwatches. If we wear a watch at all, it's normally 9 times out of 10 it'll be a smartwatch because it tells us everything. It tells us the weather, it tells us our emails, our little messages, it tells us our blood pressure and our heart rate and our BMI and everything. Oh, they're so great, but they are soulless. They are very, very functional, very, very practical, and completely devoid of style. So if you want to be practical, by all means, wear a Garmin, an Apple Watch, a Samsung smartwatch, whatever. If you want to be stylish, get yourself a nice piece of wrist furniture. Now, this one, they're not expensive. This one happens to be a Longines quartz watch with a stainless steel strap. I found this in a pawnbroker's, and it was, I think, it was about £150. Longines is a great make and the great watch is very stylish, and it was a bargain. So you don't have to spend a fortune on nice watches. If a watch has a story, if it's been left by a relative, if it was your grandfather's watch, your father's watch, your uncle's watch, if it was something that was a present for your 21st birthday, if it has a story, then that counts so much towards the style factor. If it has an automatic movement, self-winding, that sort of thing, if it's a nice watch, then that's very stylish in itself. But have a watch that tells a story or says something about you, something about the person you want to project. Now, I'm not going to go into what different watch brands say about a person. That's an entirely different video, but a nice watch with a decent story speaks volumes. Number 3 out of 8 is the Shirt Muffin-Top. Now, I don't have a muffin top. Why? Because today's video is sponsored by ShirtbyHand. ShirtbyHand is my made-to-measure shirt company, and all the details to how to get a made-to-measure shirt and get measured will be in the description. This is a made-to-measure shirt, and as you can see, fits me perfectly. The collar fits, but before I rolled the sleeves up, the sleeves were the right length, the body fits perfectly. And that's what happens when you get a made-to-measure shirt. These cost from £79 to £99, so they're not that expensive compared to what you'd spend on Savile Row or Jermyn Street for a handmade shirt. You can get measured on a Zoom call, or you can measure yourself using the self-measure guide. It's really simple. Just grab a tape measure and the guide, and you can be in a made-to-measure shirt in about 3 weeks' time. Anyway, the muffin top. For that, I'm going to need a different shirt. And as if by magic, here we are. So that's your muffin top shirt. It's a It's a standard fit shirt. It's an off the peg size. It's actually in my size. It fits very well in the collar. The sleeves are the right length. The shirt's the right length, but it's not fitted in the body. As you can see, there's a lot of excess around the torso. Now, to fix this, all you're doing is you're taking all the material excess and taking it round to the back. Helps if you unfasten your belt, excuse me. Take all of the excess, tuck it in around the back, nice and neat, so it's all at the back. And then fasten your belt before you do anything else. The belt is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, and it makes sure that your shirt doesn't come untucked, and it makes it look a lot more fitted, a lot more tailored. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it's a good compromise. It looks a lot better than it did to begin with. So that's how to fix your muffin top. The fourth biggest mistake is going age blind with your hair. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean having a haircut in your 40s or 50s that you had in your 20s or 30s. As you get older, your hair changes completely. The color, the condition, the thickness, the hairline, all change with age. You need to adapt with this change. And the best thing to do is to speak to your hairstylist and say, you've got a blank canvas, what's the most appropriate haircut for my age, hair color, its condition, and how much I've got left. It's as simple as that. And you need to put yourself into their hands and say, give me a new look that's appropriate for my age and hair condition. You do that and people will absolutely pay compliments. If you are desperately combing over to hide a bald patch and you end up taking it off, the number of positive comments you will get, you will not believe. Combing your hair forward to hide a receded hairline, the same thing. Let's be honest, you're not fooling anybody. I know it makes you feel slightly younger, but being age appropriate with your haircut pays dividends in the long run. And the short run, it makes you look far better. Anyway, mistake number five is to wear your trainers, wear your sneakers outside of the gym. If you're going to the gym, if you're going for a run, absolutely wear some trainers, put some training shoes on and go for that run. Be as comfortable as you can. If you find yourself wearing trainers outside, or even worse, with a suit, you are wrong. There's no two ways about it. You are wrong. There's no stylistic choice that you can make that makes trainers, sneakers appropriate with a suit. You will see it on the red carpet. They're being ironic. They're being what the Italians call sprezzatura. They're being deliberately mischievous with their sense of style. That's a little bit different. I'm afraid for the man in the street to walk down the road with a suit and a pair of trainers on, it's never a good look. If you need for comfort or practicality purposes to wear a pair of trainers, then make sure they are all black or all white and they are discreet. There's no colors, no branding, no obvious signs that they're trainers. They're just for you a comfortable pair of shoes. As I say, that's for practicality purposes. Particularly a nice black pair of leather trainers can look quite stylish, but it's a very, very narrow window of opportunity you've got there. Very easy with wearing trainers to look bad. So my advice is to avoid them at all costs, unless you're going to the gym, in which case, crack on. Mistake number 6. Now, the flyaway collar. I have deliberately avoided my flyaway collar today with the solution that I'm going to give to you. Now, you're wearing a tie, you take your tie off, and then your collar ends up looking like that. It looks like you've just taken your tie off. What you want is to look deliberate about your outfit. You want your collar to look at all times as though that's how you intended it to be. So the solution to this is these little fellows. These are magnetic collar stays. Now I've got metal, these are magnets, and these are magnetic collar stays. These are simply stainless steel collar stays in the collar. Take one out to show you. See, that's metal and it's stainless steel. Pop it back in there. You do need to have shirts with open pockets for the collar stays, but a lot of shirts come with these days. And then you simply pop the magnets on the inside of the shirt, and it keeps the collar nice and flat. I typically wear a couple of buttons undone. That's my preferred way of wearing a shirt. A lot of people watch the video and say, I'll tell you one mistake is wearing a shirt like it's the 1970s. Yes, I get it. But that's my thing. Anyway, with the magnetic stays in, the collars are even. They're not one floppy and one standing up. They're not getting all fly away. They're from the side. They frame the jawline nicely. So, magnetic collar stays, well worth the investment. Go onto Amazon. I'll link them in the description. Few dollars, few pounds, really great idea. Okay, I'm gonna need my sleeves rolled down for this one because the next one is the Boxy Blazer. The Boxy Blazer, the suit jacket that doesn't fit properly, is number 7. I'm going to show you with this one for the sake of exaggeration. This one would have been great in the 1980s, the Miami Vice oversized shoulder pads, the low buttoning point and the long jacket. I could then roll the sleeves up and look like Don Johnson. However, we are now in 2025 and things have changed. The first thing, and the most important thing about a jacket is to get it fitting in the shoulders. If you get it fitting in the shoulders, you're halfway there. Shoulders and jacket length. The jacket should cover the backside. After that, things can be altered. So if you get a jacket that fits in the shoulders and in the length, but not around the waist, that can be altered to an extent. Also, the sleeve length, that can be altered to an extent. So the jacket I had on before, I'm going to show you why that is the right size for me. So my off-the-peg jacket size is a 40 regular. I'm 5'11.5", so that gives you an idea of my kind of size. That's my shoulder there, and that's where the jacket fits perfectly. Round the waist, if I fasten that there, it gives you just a sort of finger space. Opinion is divided on the jacket sleeve. I like to show a little bit of shirt cuff, about ½ inch of shirt cuff poking out of the bottom. That means that the jacket sleeve needs to be a little bit shorter. If I wasn't showing any shirt cuff, the jacket sleeve would look a little bit short. But because you're showing shirt cuff, it looks fine. So you have to decide whether your style is to show shirt cuff or not, and that determines the length of your jacket sleeve. Then the length, as I say, just covering the backside is perfect. So get to know your off-the-peg jacket size and it makes shopping for them a lot easier, and especially in the shoulders and in the length. It's all to do with proportion. Once you know your off-the-peg size, it makes shopping online so easy because you can then find bargains on eBay, find bargains in the sales. Most of my clothes that I buy, even though I'm a tailor, most of my clothes I buy on eBay. They are cheap as chips. Who wants to wear second-hand clothes? I do, because they're cheap. And when they fit you and they're good quality, no one's going to know that you bought them on eBay. Anyway, mistake number 8, and this is the elephant in the room because people do not like to talk about it. Mistake number 8 is your personal hygiene and your smell. Doesn't matter what country you're in or what job you do, shower every day, simple personal hygiene. It's as easy as that. Then, a good long-lasting deodorant that's going to last all day. You do not want body odor to be the thing that people remember about you. It's very off-putting and it literally repels people. And then as a bonus, you can even go for a signature scent. So an aftershave that you like that can become something that people associate with you. The aftershave isn't important, but in terms of business meetings and being respected and taken seriously, you have no idea how much of a difference it makes when you have a nice smell. Anyway, if you've stayed to the end, thank you for joining me for my 8 biggest style mistakes and how to avoid them. I hope you found them useful. If you like the video, please like the video. And if you want to see more of my essential guide for the modern man, please subscribe to my channel and you can see me next time. Anyway, take care, have a great day, and I'll see you very soon.